غمگینش به رویم خیره ماند قطره قطره اشکش از مژگان چکید لرز افتادش به گیسوی بلند زیر لب غمناک خواند ناله زنجیرها بر دست من گفتمش آنگه که از هم بگسلند خنده تلخی به لب آورد و گفت آرزویست دلکش است اما غریب وقت شورم ره بر این امید بست وان طلایی زربم خورشید را صخره‌های ساحل مغرب شکست.
Good evening, everybody.
من به خود لرزیدم از ذره گتار.
Good evening, everybody. Oh, actually, hold on a minute. Just 2 seconds. Sorry. Sorry about that. I have this one of my lights. If you don't unplug it, it flickers the whole time, and that is really bad for up here. So I had to just unplug it from the electricity so I get the light but not the flickers. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joanna Godwin-Seidl. I am your host for this evening's reading of 1001 Nights. And without further ado, I shall get going. So I'm just gonna, oh, let me just close my door as well. So eventually I'll be ready. That comes of what happens when you are listening to another online program somewhere else that some friends of yours run. If you want to listen to two blokes chatting away to each other about life in general, every Thursday, Michael Smolik and Jim Libby do a little podcast on YouTube called It Should Be About Something. So check out It Should Be About Something on YouTube. That is with Michael Smolik and Jim Libby. And they don't even know I've given them a shout out. But there you go. That's where I just was. And that's why I'm a little bit unorganized today. Anyway, welcome. And we were on the story of Abu Isa and Kurrat Al-Ayn, and he fell madly and deeply in love with her and has orchestrated them going to the house of her owner because, of course, she is, I believe, a slave, and so that he could get to see her. And now she has started singing, and he wants to sing back to her, and he is absolutely enamored and enraptured by her, as one should be about a beautiful woman. And let's find out what happens next. Is he going to get the woman of his dreams or not? That is the question. Now, when it was the 18th night. So I can't read letters anymore. 418th night. She said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that when Kurrat Al-Ayn had finished her verse, Abu Isa said, 'Oh, commander of the faithful, though we endure disgrace, we shall be at case. Dost thou give me leave to reply to her?' Quoth the Caliph, 'Yes, say what thou wilt to her.' So he swallowed his tears and sang these 2 distitches. Silent I woned, and never owned my love, but from my heart I hid love's blissful boon. Yes, if my eyes should manifest my love, 'tis for my nearness to the shining moon. Then Kurrat Al-Ayn took the lute and played a lively tune, and rejoined with these couplets. And what thou claimest were the real truth, with only hope content thou hadst not been, nor couldst patient live without the girl, so rare of inner grace and outward mien. But there is nothing in the claim of thee at all, save tongue and talk that little mean. When Abu Isa heard this, he fell to weeping and wailing, and evidencing his trouble and anguish. Then he raised his eyes to her, and sighing, repeated these couplets. Under my raiment a waste body lies, and in my spirit all comprising prize. I have a heart whose pain shall I endure, and tears like torrents pour these woeful eyes. Whene'er a wise man spies me, straight he chides, love that misleads me thus in ways unwise. O Lord, I lack the power this dole to bear. Come, sudden death, or joy in bestest guise. When he had ended, Ali bin Hisham sprang up and kissing his feet and said, O my lord, Allah, hearing thy secret, hath answered thy prayer and consenteth to thy taking her with all she hath of things rare and fair. So the commander of the faithful have no mind to her. Quoth Al-Mamun, had we a mind to her, we would prefer Abu Isa before ourselves and help him to his desire. So saying, he rose and embarking went away, whilst Abu Isa tarried for Kurrat Al-Ayn, whom he took and carried to his own house, his breast swelling with joy. See then the generosity of Ali, son of Hisham. And they tell the tale of Al-Amin, son of Al-Rashid, and his uncle, Ibrahim bin Al-Mahdi. Al-Amin, brother of Al-Mamun, once entered the house of his uncle Ibrahim bin Al-Mahdi, where he saw a slave girl playing upon the lute. And she being one of the fairest of women, his heart inclined to her. Ibrahim, seeing how it was with him, sent the girl to him, with rich raiment and precious ornaments. When he saw her, he thought that his uncle had lain with her, so he was loath to have to do with her because of that, and accepting what came with her, sent her back to Ibrahim. His uncle learnt that the cause of this from one of Al-Amin's eunuchs, so he took a shift of watered silk and worked upon its skirt, in letters of gold, these 2 couplets. No, I declare by him to whom all bow, of nothing neath her petticoat I trow, nor meddle with her mouth, nor aught did I, but see and hear her, and it was enow. Then he clad her in the shift, and giving her a lute, sent her back again to his nephew. When she came into Al-Amin's presence, she kissed ground before him, and tuning the lute, sang thereto these two couplets. Thy breast thou bearest sending back the gift, showing unlove for me withouten shift. And thou bear spite of past the past forgive, and for the caliphate cast the past adrift. When she had made an end to her verse, Al-Amin looked at her, and seeing what was upon her skirt, could no longer control himself. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day, and ceased saying her permitted say. Now, when it was the 419th night, she said, It has reached me, O auspicious king, that when Al-Amin looked at the damsel and saw what was upon her skirt, he could no longer control himself, but drew near unto her and kissed her, and appointed her separate lodgings in his palace. Moreover, he thanked his uncle for this, and bestowed on him the government of Ray. And a tale is told of Al-Fath bin Khakan and the Caliph Al-Mutawakkil. Al-Mutawakkil was once taking medicine, and folk sent him by way of solace all sorts of presents and rarities and things costly and precious. Amongst others, Al-Fath bin Khakan sent him a virgin slave, high-breasted, of the fairest among women of her time, and with her a vase of crystal containing ruddy wine, and a goblet of red gold whereon were graven in black these couplets. Since our Imam came forth from medicine, which made him health and heartiness rewin, there is no healing draught more sovereign than well-boiled wine with his golden goblet in. Then let him break the seal for him secured. 'Tis best prescription after medicine. Now when the damsel entered, the physician Joanna was with the Caliph, and as he read the couplets, he smiled and said, By Allah, O Commander of the Faithful, Fath is better versed than I in the art of healing. So let not the Prince of True Believers gainsay his prescription. Accordingly, the Caliph followed the recipe contained in the pottery and poetry, and was made whole by the blessing of Allah, and won his every wish. And among tales they tell is one of the man's dispute with the learned woman concerning the relative excellence of male and female. Quoth a certain man of learning, I never saw amongst womankind one wittier and wiser, better read, and by nature more generously bred, and in manners and morals more perfected than a preacher of the people of Baghdad, by name of Sit al-Mashaki. It chanced that she came to Hama city in the year of the flight 561, and there delivered salutary exhortations to the folk from the professional chair. Now, there used to visit her house a number of students of divinity and persons of learning and polite letters, who would discuss with her questions of theology and dispute with her on controversial points. I went to her one day with a friend of mine, a man of years and education, and when we had taken our seats, she set before us a dish of fruit and seated herself behind a curtain. Now, she had a brother, a handsome youth, who stood behind us to serve us. And when we had eaten, we fell to disputing upon points of divinity. And I propounded to her a theological question bearing upon a difference between the Imams, the founders of the 4 schools. She proceeded to speak in answer, whilst I listened. But all the while my friend fell to looking upon her brother's face and admiring his beauties, without paying any heed to what she discoursed. Now, as she was watching him from behind the curtain, when she had made an end of her speech, she turned to him and said, "Methinks thou be of those who give men the preference over women." He replied, "Assuredly." And she asked, "And why so?" Whereto he answered, "For that Allah hath made the masculine worthier than the feminine." And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. Now, when it was the 120th night, Shahrazad said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king." The Shaykh replied, "For that Allah hath made the masculine worthier than the feminine, and I like the excelling and mislike the excelled." She laughed and presently said, "Wilt thou deal fairly with me in debate if I battle the matter with thee?" And he rejoined, "Yes." Then quoth she, "What is the evidence of the superiority of the male to the female?" Quoth he, "It is of 2 kinds, traditional and reasonable. The authoritative part deriveth from the Quran and the traditions of the Apostle. And as for the first, we have the very words of Almighty Allah. Men shall have the preeminence above women because of those advantages wherein Allah hath caused the one of them to excel the other. And again, if there be not 2 men, let there be 1 man and 2 women. And again, when treating of inheritance, if there be brothers and sisters, let a male have as much as the portion of 2 females. Thus Allah, extolled and exalted be He, hath in these places preferred the male over the female, and teacheth that a woman is as the half of a man, for that he is worthier than she. As for the Sunnah traditions, is it not reported of the Prophet, whom Allah save and assain, that he appointed the blood money for a woman to be half that of a man? And as for the evidence of reason, the male is the agent and active, and the female the patient and passive. Rejoined she, "Thou hast said well, O my lord, but by Allah, thou hast proved my contention with thine own lips, and hast advanced evidence which telleth against thee, and not for thee. And thus it is, Allah, extolled and exalted be He, preferred the male above the female solely because, at the inherent condition and essential quality of masculinity, and in this there is no dispute between us. Now, this quality of malehood is common to the child, the boy, the youth, the adult, and the old man, nor is there any distinction between them in this. If, then, the superior excellence of male masculine belong to him solely by virtue of manhood, It behoveth that thy heart incline and thy soul delight in the greybeard equally with the boy, seeing that there is no distinction between them in point of malehood. But the difference between thee and me turneth upon the accident of qualities that are sort of constituting the pleasure of intercourse and its enjoyment. And thou hast adduced no proof of the superiority of the youth over the young girl in this matter of non-essentials. He made answer, well, O reverend lady, and knowest thou not that which is peculiar to the youth of limber shape and rosy cheeks and pleasant smile and sweetness of speech? Youths are, in their respects, superior to women. And the proof of this is what they traditionally report of the Prophet, whom Allah bless and preserve, that he said, stay not thy gaze upon the beardless, for in them is a momentary eye glance at the black-eyed girls of paradise. Nor indeed is the superiority of the lad over the lass hidden to any of mankind. How well saith Abu Nawas, the least of him is the being free from monthly courses and pregnancy. And the saying of another poet, quoth a man about Abu Nawas, who was for mad debauch and waggishness renowned, O tribe that loves the cheeks of boys, take fill. O joys in paradise shall ne'er be found. So if any one enlarge in praise of a slave girl and wish to enhance her value by the mention of her beauties, he likeneth her to a youth. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. Well, I don't know about that, ladies and gentlemen. I do sometimes, obviously, a lot of these stories were written by a British colonialist explorer, and in the past, as we well know, women were not always perceived with a huge amount of respect. And sometimes, I have to say, some of these stories do get my goat a little bit, 'cause sometimes they're not always particularly female friendly, but they're still interesting and they're still lovely, and I still really enjoy reading them. But still, sometimes I have to be a little bit, so you have to take it with a little pinch of, as a woman, you have to take it with a little pinch of irony, the whole thing. And remember, it was in the days of yore, in the past, and not written in the present day, because nowadays you would never ever actually get away with writing some of the things that they write in this, especially the stuff with the young girls, where some of these girls are really young. Anyway, that was tonight's reading, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, it was an absolute pleasure reading for you. Don't forget, the 21st or the 22nd of May, Saman and I will be reunited at last. We haven't seen each other in a while. Well, actually we did. We saw each other today. But we haven't read together in a long while. It seems like forever. I think it was February or something, because we all got so busy. And we are absolutely delighted and looking forward to reading to you again, either on the 21st or the 22nd. Watch out for which date it's going to be. I'm not quite sure yet. But we will let you know as soon as we do know. I'm going to put an event up at least in the meantime. And yeah, that's all I have to say. If you want to support us, please feel free to do so. We are doing this as a pleasant gratuity because of the lockdowns all over the world and this very nasty thing called a global pandemic. We started reading, for those of you who don't know, on March 20th, 2020. So we've been reading for a whole year now. We're on the 419th night, I think it was it not? And yeah, so we've been reading a long time already. So we're actually, this next reading, the next live reading, where we're going to be together with Kamyab Sadiri playing music and being accompanied by Bijan on the guitar. will actually be our 1 year anniversary celebration. So that's going to kind of be a little bit of a very special evening for us, because we would have been doing this for a whole year already. So, dear friends, it was an absolute pleasure as usual. I will be back next Tuesday, unless I suddenly decide to throw in a reading over the weekend because I get bored being at home. I will be back religiously next Tuesday at 9 p.m. live and online to read you the continuation of this next story and find out what's going to happen next. Many blessings to you. Did I say it? If you want to support us, www.paypal.me/Vienna Theatre Project. We would be absolutely delighted. We accept 1 cent, we accept 10 cents, we accept €1, we accept 10 euros, 100 euros, €1,000,000, 10 million euros. We accept anything and everything as far as money is concerned. We'd be very, very grateful for your help. It goes towards the upkeep of this whole show. And yeah, that was it. Thank you very much for listening in. Have a very beautiful weekend. Look after yourselves. Do something special. Make your heart feel good. If you can't go and get a hug from somebody because of this horrible global pandemic, then give yourself at least a good hug. You are welcome, David, and it was an absolute pleasure. Good evening, Gemma. Hi, Dunya, and hello. I'm sorry, I think my eyesight is I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go to the opticians at some stage and get my eyes looked at. These lights are a little bit too bright, and let me see. Oh, no, that's not making it different. Ah, that's a little bit better. I'm sorry if I pronounce this wrong, but I can barely read it. Kalash, is that right? I'm sorry if I said it wrong. I do apologize. I'm having I don't know why your name's a little bit too high up. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Thank you very, very much for listening in. It was an absolute pleasure. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next Tuesday. Many blessings from me. Take care of yourselves. Good night. Bye-bye.